How's it going, everybody? Good news, the Yankees won last night. They squeaked out a 2-1 victory versus the Rays, and you know what that means. World Series is back on, baby. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Last night was one of those games where it felt like the Yankees could have easily mailed it in, easily lost. Perhaps they should have. The Rays left a small village on the bases. There were some big double plays, the big catch from Grisham in center field. Look, baseball is a game of inches. And last night, the Yankees caught a couple of breaks. But I'll tell you why I'm feeling good about it. The Yankees have not been getting any breaks. Last night, they got a few breaks. I don't know if luck is real, but the team has got to be feeling like at least their fortunes turned a little bit on last night's game. What they need tonight is to get off to a really good start. They need the captain to do something, maybe a 3-run home run early in the game, kind of take the pressure off of everybody. Last night, they definitely released the pressure valve a little bit. They let some of the PSI out of the pipes there. But now you really want to get the momentum going in the right direction. You want to win this one. You want to win the series, win your first series in the last 7 series, I believe. And you want to be feeling good headed into a big series with the Orioles, who we'll talk about in a second. Nestor needs to step up and have a good game tonight. He's already faced the Rays twice this season. On April 20th, he threw 7 shutout innings. And then on May 11th, he went 5 1/3 innings and he allowed 4 runs. Somewhere in the middle tonight, I think would get it done. 6 innings, 2 runs. I'll sign up for that right now. Need a big game from him tonight. You want to be feeling good headed into this Baltimore series. Speaking of Baltimore, they maintain a 2-game lead in the American League East. They have 5 players on their team who have already put up 2 WAR or better. Gunnar Henderson is already at 6.3. He might legitimately be one of the best players we've ever seen. Not only does he play a really good shortstop, but he's hitting .292. He's already got 27 bombs, 61 ribbies, 14 stolen bases. He's only been caught once. He's got 105 hits in 91 games, and he's only 23 years old. He's going to be a problem for a long, long, long time. Dude is a gamer. And I know it's kind of a pick your poison with the Orioles. They have Rushman. They have Westberg. Santander kills the Yankees. He's got 23 homers. Ryan Mountcastle kills the Yankees. Ryan O'Hearn kills the Yankees. He's dangerous. He's having a good year. But the one guy you cannot let beat you this weekend is Gunnar Henderson. The Yankees are going to have to pitch very carefully. They're going to have to bring the bats. They were hot the last couple of times they faced the Orioles, and both times they stunk up the joint. This time, they are cold. They're ice cold, but if you win tomorrow, win tonight, rather, the momentum is starting to build up, and maybe you can catch them at the right time. I also wonder, given the amount of beanballs that we've seen in the first 2 series, whether or not we might see some fisticuffs this weekend. If the Orioles are going to fight the Yankees, now's the time to do it while Stanton is not with the team. All right, let's talk about the trade deadline here.
Hey, just curious. Given the Yankees' struggles, how would you fix the team at the trade deadline?
Look, I'm glad it's not my job because it's going to be a heavy lift, as Brian Cashman likes to say. Cashman has surprised me before with both moves that have happened and moves that didn't happen. I was surprised when he traded for Michael Pineda. He traded Jesus Montero, who was the Yankees' top catching prospect at the time. Top prospect overall, I believe. I thought for sure they were going to go get Cliff Lee, and they passed because they didn't want to move Eduardo Nunez. I thought for sure they were going to get Verlander. To me, Verlander was a no-brainer, even though he made a ton of money, and even though he had some struggles with Detroit, you could see that he still had plenty of gas in the tank. He was still throwing 98, 99 miles an hour, still had that good ride on the fastball. And it was just a matter of mixing his pitches a little bit. Obviously, they made some other adjustments in Houston, but he's had a crazy run with them. Cashman passed on that. And a lot of people would have passed at that point. But I think Cashman's going to have to be aggressive. You want to re-sign Juan Soto. You want to show him that you're committed to winning. You want to keep two guys in your stable for sure. You got to keep Spencer Jones, who has begun to heat up at Double-A. Could be a left-handed Judge, possibly, eventually. Remember, Judge didn't have huge numbers in the minors either. It took him a while. It really was his second season, like his first full season in the majors, where he made the tweaks to his swing and went crazy. And I think you hang on to Dominguez. Switch hitters that are young with power and a slow heartbeat they don't grow on trees. They're not easy to find. Anyone else, I think, is fair game. I think there's such a dilution at the catching position in the major leagues that the Yankees could deal one of their catchers, whether it's Agustin Ramirez, who's a prospect, or whether it's Jose Trevino, who's had trouble throwing guys out, or whether it's Austin Wells, who's shown some flashes offensively lately. I think they're going to get a minimum of 2 relief pitchers, probably more. I think they'll get at least one of the big-name relievers, probably Tanner Scott, and then maybe one of the lesser-known guys. You know, I think they could go out and get Chad Green. I think Tanner Scott and Chad Green would be the 2 additions you'd make to the bullpen. And then I could see them going out and getting some AAA type of pitchers who, you know, maybe have that Michael Tonkin, Tim Hill kind of profile where they're just kind of funky and they don't necessarily have great stuff, but they can give you a different look. Maybe have good command of the baseball or good command of a pitch that has good peripherals. I think that's going to be priority number 1 for Cashman. I don't know if they're going to spend big to get a starting pitcher. Can't see it. They need a bat. They need offense. I could see him going after Ryan McMahon. I know that the Rockies have said that, well, they haven't said this publicly, but people who cover the Rockies and are familiar with the Rockies don't think they're going to trade him. But he would be a nice get. He has not homered in 16 games for the Rockies, so if you believe in due, he's due. If you pick him up, he could be getting ready to go on one of those little streaks, those little hot streaks. I think Jazz Chisholm is a possibility. Second base. Obviously, we have Gleyber Torres. I would not be shocked at all if they traded Gleyber Torres. I know he's not having a good year and you would be selling low, but you're not going to re-sign him. Right? So you have to weigh what he's going to give you over the final couple of months of this season versus what he could bring back in trade and what you could bring in via trade. I know people have said, Gleyber to the Marlins. Marlins have no interest in Gleyber Torres because he's going to be a free agent. They're not going to sign him. I could see him going possibly to like the Guardians, you know, a contending team that maybe needs one more bat. I could see him going to Seattle. You know, there are spots for Gleyber Torres. I could see them trying to move on from Carlos Rodon and bring in another starting pitcher. It's clear to me that Carlos Rodon, the cut of his jib is not right for New York. And the only way that I think that they go out and get another starting pitcher is if they remove one from their current stable. To me, Carlos Rodon is the most obvious choice. He could bring back possibly something. I know that his contract is a bit of a albatross right now, but he's screaming at teammates. He's turning his back on coaches. He's fighting with Boone in the dugout. You can't do all that crap if you have a 10 ERA in the first inning. I'm sorry. I think he's going to be much more well-suited somewhere with less pressure. And yes, you would have to waive his no-trade clause. But, you know, given the pressure in New York and how he has responded, I think he would. And yes, the Yankees would have to eat some of the money. But they're not going to eat as much money as you think. Because all they would need to do is get his salary down to the market value of what he would be as a free agent. Right? So, like, if he became a free agent right now, he'd probably still get $16, $17 million at least. I mean, look what Frankie Montas got. You know? I think he got like $16 million. I think that you could move him if he's willing to take a trade. And I personally would be all over that. All right, let's take a few more voicemails here.
Hey, Derek. Great show. If the Yankees aren't going to consider a six-man rotation, then I strongly urge an opener from time to time. Thanks again.
I can see him going with an opener. The problem is, like, who do you go with an opener for? You know, what's that say to Carlos Rodon? He's the guy who needs it most. What does that say to Carlos Rodon, who makes $20+ million? This is a guy who's fighting with his confidence. And if you say, we're going to use an opener for you, you just sink his confidence more. But, you know, Luis Gil, he's been strong early. His problem has been fading. He had that one start where he got pummeled kind of early. Nestor, I don't think, needs one. Garrett Cole doesn't need one. I mean, if you just want to space guys out and use an opener, you need a bulk guy. Who's their bulk guy right now to pitch innings, you know, either 3 through 6 or 7 or innings like 2 through 5 or 6? I don't think they have one right now. So I don't see that happening. Jeff G says, send Rodon to the Little League Daycare Center and let him pout and cry there. Ramon De Los Santos says, DJ took a foul ball off the end of his bat to his face. Yeah, we watched the game last night. He also got hit in the hand. So, tough night.
Hey, Derek. Alex from Atlanta here. I'm curious if you think this would be a good idea, if the Yankees should consider sending Volpe down to AAA for maybe a week or two, try to get some of his confidence back. I know they say you don't want to kill a kid's confidence, but Volpe hasn't done anything in what seems like over a month. I don't think there's much confidence left to kill, but they got to get this kid back on track. He's doing a whole lot of nothing. If Waldo plays short, couldn't do any worse than Volpe's doing right now. Anyway.
All right, I appreciate it. So, I don't think they're going to do it, but it wouldn't be unprecedented for a top prospect to get sent back down. The issue is that you don't have another shortstop who can do what Volpe does defensively. Best option for the Yankees and Volpe is to put him in the 9 hole or put him down near the bottom of the order and just leave him there and stop messing with him. And just say, hey, figure it out offensively. Keep doing your job defensively. We're not going to put any pressure on you. Relying on Volpe to be a major cog in this offense was a mistake. He's not ready for it. He got off to a great start. League has adjusted. He has struggled to adjust back. But we've seen young players sent down to AAA before. Jordan Walker with the Cardinals. He was hitting 155 with the Cardinals and got sent down to AAA, where he's hitting 251. He's not exactly tearing the cover off the ball, but he was a top prospect. So I don't think they're going to send him down, but he definitely needs less pressure on him. I like him at the bottom of the order.
Hi, Derek. How you doing? Ray from Northern New York calling. I got an idea here for the Yankees. What Hal Steinbrenner should do is get a set of fucking balls and bring Boone into the office and say, okay, we're going to send you down to the minor leagues and we're going to bring up the minor league manager because we think you're suffering from mental fatigue. You can't handle this team, and if you can't handle the minor league team, then we're going to get rid of you. You better straighten up. Just an idea. Thanks, Derek. You do a great job, buddy. Bye.
I appreciate the call. I don't know if managers can even be sent down to the minor leagues. I don't think they can, but I wouldn't count on that happening. Boone does look exhausted, though. He does look mentally beat down. You can tell it. He wears his expressions on his face very clearly. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's frustrated. No question about it. And, you know, we saw the pictures of Cashman yesterday. He looks like he hasn't been sleeping well. I didn't see any pictures or video of Hal Steinbrenner, but he was in town to watch the Yankees. And you got to hope that he's pissed off. You know, I want a pissed off Steinbrenner to, you know, do what it takes to get this team back where it needs to go. But yeah, they're not going to send Boone down to AAA, but he does look mentally fatigued. I agree.
just a Yankee fan, and you nailed it, man. We needed a 2-1 win. And we needed a tight game. I just kind of found you a couple weeks ago on YouTube because live in the Outer Banks and not great Yankee TV out there. And you're doing a great job, man. And we're going to turn around. Just think about this stat. What are we, 3-7? And we're going to pick up a game on the Orioles and only be 2 out? Come on. Think about it. We're 6-15 or maybe we're 7 or 22.
7-17.
Anyhow, we're losing. We're crazy. We win one game.
Appreciate it. Kind of trailed off there at the end. But look, like I was saying, last night we needed a break. We needed to win a tight game. We've had some laughers during this stretch. They had the 14-4 game against the Red Sox, and then the next day they just basically fell apart. There was that game, I believe it was, I can't remember who they played, where they scored 7 runs in the 7th inning. Might have been Toronto. And then they fell apart the next day. You needed the bullpen to hang on to a tight victory. You needed to get a couple of breaks to feel like the worm is turning, like the universe is shifting in your favor. That's what they needed. That's what they got last night. Now, tonight, all you got to do, go out and win a ball game. Go out and win a ball game, and you win the series. You end the talk about all these series in a row that you haven't won, and you're feeling good on the flight to Baltimore. Glad you found the channel, buddy. Keep listening. Tell your friends.
Hi, Derek. This is Jay Apollo. I just wanted to point out the fact with the upcoming series against the Orioles that it may come down to a tiebreaker at the end of the season, which, according to the way the Yankees have played, it comes down to the Yankees having to sweep at least one of the 3 game sets, and winning 2 of 3 at the minimum. And it's how good Baltimore is. I think that's a very tough task. Anyway, love the show. Been watching since 2020. Have a good day, Derek.
Appreciate it very much. It's unlikely the Yankees are going to sweep the Orioles in either of the series that they have remaining. Best chance for the Yankees is to beat the Orioles in the standings. To beat them in the standings. Now, I want to just kind of drop this in there, just food for thought. Teams that have been getting the bye in the first round have not been doing well in the playoffs. Saw it happen with Atlanta. You know, we've had some guys, some teams kind of lose momentum after winning the division. Now, I still think you want to win the division. I still think you want home field advantage. I think that's very important. But, you know, there's something to just continuing to play and not getting that big 5-day rest before you begin the playoffs. It hasn't really affected the Astros that much, but it's affected some of the National League teams, notably Atlanta. So if the Yankees win the wild card, not the worst thing in the world because there are silver linings you can look to, but you still want to win the division. You want to win the division. You really do. We got a super chat here from Franklin Lopez. Says, Aaron screws the lineup yet again by putting all that pressure on Ben Rice batting 4th. I don't know. He seems like a kid who's kind of immune to pressure. You know? I wouldn't... Sure, there's a correlation, right? He batted 4th for the first time. He had his worst game yet with the Yankees. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there's a causation. It doesn't necessarily mean that one thing caused the other. Sure, it's easy to say that, it did, that it was pressure, yada, yada, yada. But we're not inside his head. We don't know how he feels. It might be they're just pitching him really carefully because he's the only guy right now who's hitting for the Yankees. But it was great last night that Juan Soto got it going. Couple of hits. He's had some weird swings. He's had some grimaces after some swings. You wonder if he's hurting. I kind of wish that he would sit out the All-Star game and take a week off and come back fresh next week. But I doubt that's going to happen. Just knowing who he is.
Sports Rabbi Josh Alexman calling from the Holy Land. A big mazel tov to the New York Yankees. They actually put together a complete game. 2-1 over the Rays. couldn't have been sweeter. Bullpen pitched well. Decent starting pitching. Not great, but decent. Only gave up 1 run. 7 hits is a little too much, but 1 run, we'll take that. But boy, that was a good win, and a win that the Yankees desperately needed in the worst way. On the flip side, does this mean that Brian Cashman won't make any moves? And has calmed him down from not even thinking about, well, we need to do this or we need to do that. Let's see. The next few days will definitely be crucial in the future of the New York Yankees going forward. Not thrilled with the lineup change, slipping Verdugo and Rice. Still want to see Ben Rice in that leadoff spot, and we ended up getting an 0 for 8 with that slip. So I'd say move Rice right back into the leadoff spot if you can, and go from that the rest of the way. Derek, always love the show. Speak to you soon.
I appreciate that, Rabbi. So, 0 for 8, obviously you can't argue that the move was successful. It was an unsuccessful move. I like Rice in the leadoff spot. You know, they're trying to capitalize on the power that he's shown lately, get some guys on base and hope that he puts one in the seats. We saw the 2-run home run the other night that kind of tightened up the game. But I like the way that he works pitches, that he works counts. And I think that's great for the leadoff spot. Really, the Yankees messed up by not getting a real leadoff hitter. They hoped that Volpe would be the leadoff guy. It has not worked out. Roman De Los Santos says, Volpe in the 9-hole and have him steal. Everything and anything. Run, Forrest, run. Got to get on base to steal. But I do agree that 9-hole, perfect for Volpe right now. Perfect for Volpe. Take a couple more questions.
Hey, Derek. Johnny Bags in New York.
Johnny Bags.
Watching the beginning of this game, cringing at the thought of Stroman taking the mound.
Worked out okay.
Anyway, if the Yankees next 3 weeks is as bad as the last 3 weeks, we might as well be sellers. Another 10, 12 losses before the trade deadline. Let's get Soto off the books. Somebody will want that guy. Verdugo. I mean, anybody. Rodon waives his claws, like you said. Let's get rid of him. What other cash can we get out of this team? How can we leverage more prospects? How can we bring some guys up and get them a lot of reps at the end of this year? I just don't see it. We're going to be fighting for a wild card slot, and we're going to end up going on the road 3 games away. I think it's the best we could do. Might as well sell.
A little too early for that. If like you said, that they just continue the losing up until the break, I could see him moving some pieces. I could see him moving Verdugo and calling up Spencer Jones. I could see him moving one of the catchers and calling up Agustin Ramirez. I could see him moving Gleyber Torres, calling up Yorbit Vivas. But Soto I don't think is going anywhere because the Yankees want to re-sign him. Now, would he bring back some talent in a trade? Absolutely. Absolutely. But once you trade the guy, you're pretty much admitting that you're not going to re-sign him. And the Yankees desperately want to re-sign him. The only way that they trade him is if they fall out of it completely and they say to him, hey, look, we want to re-sign you. We did this with Aroldis Chapman. We're making a play for next year. We want to get some prospects to put around you and Judge. Expect a call this winter. And just want to make sure you're okay with it. Under that scenario, maybe. But I would bet dollars to donuts that they do not trade Juan Soto under any circumstances. Dante Lozada says, do you think the Cubs will be more likely to trade Bellinger after he got drilled in the hand? Bellinger is an interesting case because he's got this player option that he can exercise. If the shoulder goes bad or, has a big injury, the team would be stuck with a big salary for a guy who can't play. So that's going to make trading him extremely difficult. I like Bellinger. I think he would be a nice fit. What would be interesting, and I don't think this will happen. Be interesting if somebody's interested in Giancarlo. Now, he's also got another no trade clause, full no trade. But there's a lot of teams that need a big, big bat for the stretch, you know? And if they could get out, I know the Yankees have fallen apart without him, but if you could get something for him to give yourself some roster flexibility so you can put another big bat in the DH spot, then I think you got to do it. But I strongly, strongly doubt that it's even at all likely they'll trade Giancarlo. Just a thought. Just spitball.
Hey, Derek, this is Carlos from Maryland. So my question for you is for the trade deadline, should we DFA LeMahieu and trade for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? Even though I know you said you don't like Vlad, but I believe that Vlad should play third base for maybe a year. I don't know how many more years he has on his contract until one of our younger guys get ready. What do you think?
I don't think it's going to happen. If the Blue Jays were to trade Vladimir Guerrero, I fully expect him to go to the National League. I can't see the Jays trading him to a division rival when there are plenty of takers. I could see him going out west, possibly. And again, possibly the Mariners, possibly the Dodgers. I could see the Cardinals being interested. There's a lot of teams I think that he would be very successful, but I can't see him coming to the Yankees. All right, ladies and gentlemen, join me after the game tonight. Yankees trying to win the rubber game. I got a meeting here coming up with Ken Rosenthal and Alana Rizzo in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and go to that meeting. I'll see what information I can get out of Ken, if I can get anything out of him. But tune in after the game tonight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey everybody, we are on a mission for 50,000 subscribers on this channel by the end of the season. When we get there, we're going to give away some cool prizes. We're going to give away an official Yankees pinstripe jersey of your choice, 4 tickets to a Yankees game, plus some NYY Recaps merch. It takes one click and it's free. So if you watch every video, double check that you are subscribed. If you love the podcast, subscribe. Heck, even if you hate the podcast, hate me, hate the Yankees, hate my cat, who cares? Subscribe anyway so somebody can win these prizes. And we'll see you next time. Ball game over.